up, y'all? Today we are going to talk about how the industry picks winners and losers, lyrics. It's a lot of stuff that's been going on. A lot of fallout over what Pusha T said in a GQ magazine interview about music being suppressed through Universal and things like that. We are going to get into all of that when we are done, after I talk about the news for the day. Before we get into that, welcome everybody. Thank y'all for joining. We having fun in here. We having fun today. Like always. We are having fun. But before I get into it, before I get started, again, welcome. I am having for you parents out there, this is the last week for early bird signups. We are doing, the $25 off, we are doing a summer school for the kids. Music history. A lot of your originating founding musicians and the instruments created here in America. They will get a fun workbook. The younger children will get different activities than the older ones, but they will be interactive, and they will get information sheets on monumental artists in Black history. This is Black Music Month. We are celebrating it, and we got to educate the kids on what's real. We got to teach the children our music history. We can't have them growing up thinking that Lil Yachty is some kind of legend. You dig? They got to understand that it goes deeper than Usher and Lil Yachty and Drake. They got to understand that. If we want to hold on to our musical legacy, we got to hold on to our music memory. And the best way is to pass that down to the children. So sign-ups are at dewanb.com/courses. And if you're an adult, you can sign up for it too. It's like not like adults aren't allowed, but the activities and stuff is going to be catered to a younger audience. But if you in your 20s and 30s, whatever you want to roll in for your information, that's fine too. It's just that the activities will be catered to that crowd. This is a summer school. It's a summer. It's going to be on Mondays. So if you have multiple children, type in the product code MORE, and you'll get that. You get 30% off all of two or more registrations if you want to register more than 2 people. If all your kids are in one house, that's fine. One Zoom, you can put all 4 of them on there. But there's multiple accounts. Each account has to have its own, you dig, registration. So that's what's gonna be going. That's what's going on now. What else going on? I've been missing y'all. I've been doing my documentary, editing like a motherfucker, man. So we coming around. But with that being said, before we get all the way, we're gonna get into the story in a little bit. I'm gonna let a few more of y'all get in here before we get into the story. But I want to start off with Dave Portnoy. We talked about him last week when he went at what's his name, Jason Whitlock. Dave Portnoy is the suspected white supremacist that owns Barstool Sports, and we say suspected because of a lot of things on how Barstool Sports generally likes to cover Black athletes. Very questionable at best. But I want y'all to see this right here. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. Look at how he went in on his own employee podcast. This shit's hilarious.
You should have him on here or somebody else like that and fucking fight with them.
They're having a conversation about jokes in the Jewish community. So this is the same Dave Portnoy that got into a back and forth with what's that white boy name? Michael Rappaport. And he dropped a diss track on Rappaport back in 2019.
It was a bar I owned. It was a bar I owned.
They should have been kicked out. So my thing
is,
like,
it's not just kick out, Kirk. Are you ignoring what's going on in the world?
No,
right
I'm
now?
not. What do you want to do those guys? What do you want to do?
It's
What do you want to do with those guys in the bar? Put them in jail for
Kirk,
50 years?
Kirk,
fine. I don't care.
I didn't say that. You're quite literally changing everything you say, Kirk. If you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid,
not at all.
Shut up.
Well,
you just want me to ignore it.
Don't tell me to shut up.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you, you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch, you work for me.
Sure.
Continue.
See, this is the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. This is the guy who owns Gilly and Wallow. For those of you who watch the Gilly and Wallow podcast, for those who you watched that Deion Sanders reality show he had when he was at Jackson State, this is the guy. And they always talking about folks from the hood. See, why is it on this channel I find every single day these people, no matter how much money they got, they can't buy class. Rich degenerates. Talking about his own employee, that's against the law. If that dude wanted to sue, he'd win. You can't talk to nobody like that. Watch the rest of this while I get Rocky.
For now, quit. I don't care.
Is this show or not a show? Like, is it a show or not a show? Like, we can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right fucking now.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many motherfucking Jews have to be killed before you stop?
That I don't think.
What else? Where else is that happening with the religion or people?
I don't think those psychopaths. I'm with you. They're scumbags. They're the worst people on the earth. Should that?
You don't think it's all related?
But Dave, you're telling a comedian not to make a joke.
It's not a comedian.
I'm with you. But you said stop all jokes.
Jew jokes of that nature right now.
We'll ban Jew jokes of that nature. We'll get the Constitution. We'll get Congress and stop Jew jokes.
I'll go back to this.
Yeah.
Rocky, you see this? This is how they act when we not around, Rocky. This is how they like to act. You good, baby boy? That's right, baby boy. You offended too? You see the way he talked to his employees when we not around, Rocky? Look at this.
You want me to ignore it?
Don't tell me to shut up.
Shut the fuck up, you bald fuck.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man, don't tell. I'll tell you, you work for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rocky. Oh, shit. He called him a bald head bitch. Boy. This is what happens when we're not around. So to all you we the only ones ass niggas, people have disagreements, man. Rich, poor, white, black, from Bangladesh, from India, Argentina, Alaska. If it's anybody in Antarctica right now hiding up under that ice, I guarantee you an argument is happening. Somebody flexing power, somebody shitting on somebody else. That's just life. But people like this, the owner of Barstool Sports, he'll put on his Twitter, he'll post a whole bunch of Negroes acting like degenerates. And that's where everybody else gets on cold. They post our degeneracy and put it all out there. You know what I mean? When they do the same shit. So watch this. This for everybody that be going around saying niggas is the only ones that do fill in the blank. People are people. People are people. All right? Yeah, the Barstool dude, he has absolutely no self-control. All right, so let's get into the story. Let's get into our main topic for today. Let's get into our main topic for today. Put it back up there. How the music industry picks winners and losers. Puppet masters. Puppet masters like Lucian Grange. This is where this story is coming from. What's his name? Drake, the whole ass nigga. Oh, where my incense at? Damn, I'm out of incense. Fuck. I burned this Palo Santo then. Shit. I wanted to burn some incense. Drake punk ass last summer, and he wasn't the one that directly did it, but they were concerned about Drake's image. Universal, Pusha T and his group Clips had a song that they put out with Kendrick. And Universal shelved the song because of Kendrick's verse. Not that neither Kendrick nor Pusha T said anything about Drake, apparently, but because, according to Pusha T, they did not want two people who were perceived as enemies of Drake to put out a joint record together. So, long story short, Pusha T, like a real one, said, well, I ain't putting nothing out. And he ended up getting his release from Universal, and he's going to put the album out next month under Rock Nation. So why is this relevant? I'm bringing this up to because we're talking. This is Black Music Month. Celebrate. Put a beer emoji in the chat for celebrating Black Music Month. All this month, we're going to be focused on, unless something big happens in the news, we're going to be doing music type subjects from 360 degrees, spherical around the different components of music, not just music itself, but the industry. I'm bringing this up to really highlight and show how much the industry controls what's put out on the radio. They were everything that an artist puts on wax that they plan on releasing, they listen to. Artists don't get a chance to put things out there without the people at the label hearing it first and saying yes, no, maybe so. Appreciate the beers in the chat. So yeah. So you see how, and then as Pusha T talks, he talks about when he was in that back and forth with Drake. He talked about how his music, his response tracks to their back and forth were for the most part stifled by Universal. So you see, even when Kendrick, you have a lot of people saying, oh, Kendrick is industry this, he's picked by that. Look, even when you're winning, your black ass can only go so far. Universal did try to protect its interest in Drake. And for better details of this back and forth, because I'm not going to spend too much go into the details of the whole back and forth. For the details, go watch Thought Crimes. For the details, go watch The Company Man. Those channels are doing a much better job than I'm going to do going into the details of that whole situation with Pusha T. This isn't necessarily about Pusha T's situation in totality. I'm using his situation to make a larger point. But if you want intricate details of the situation, please, please, please go watch Thought Crimes. They were very comprehensive covering the story. And it was actually through me listening to them that spurred this thought. Like, wow, I can really use this to really point out how much control the industry has over what's said on the radio. Because they would not allow Pusha T and Kendrick to put out a song together that was going to further hurt their artist, Drake. But they'll allow these rappers to put out music that talks about nothing, sings about nothing, is nothing but nothing. Why is that? Why is it that they can control one of their artists possibly being shamed? They care about that. But they don't care about putting out perpetual drug use. They don't mind putting out music that pits men against women. They don't mind putting out music that's on the women's side, ultra feminist with no regard for the children. But they'll stop Drake and his little light-skinned rap from getting further used and abused and misused. And also, if you listen to Thought Crimes and a few other channels I heard talk about this, Kendrick wasn't supposed to be able to release Not Like Us. It was supposed to be Family Matters, from what I heard, and that was it. He thought that Lucien, and that's Lucien Grange in the picture, he figured that Lucien was going to protect him again, and he didn't. It really goes to show you that the industry picks winners and losers. This is just further proof. If y'all follow my channel regularly, I'm always talking about what's my main themes when I talk on this channel. Damn, number one, forget who cares about who sold how many records. The only thing that matters when it comes to a record is how it makes you feel. Popularity, mainstream is bogus. It's all bullshit. It's all contrived. I've been saying that on the channel since day one. That's why if you notice when I talk about music, I very rarely talk about the so-called main guys. Because the main guys are some people that they're people who were chosen by powerful people. It's not real. Popular stardom, that shit's not real. It's all contrived. It's all created. It's not real. So when you listen to these stories about Pusha T not being able to put out music because Kendrick's on a feature because it may hurt the perception of Drake, that shows you how fake this shit really is. And how artists are screwed. And how artists really don't have much power when they're on these labels. That's why I had that late night talk last night with y'all. Last night we talked about who controls the industry. Do we run it? Do we own it? And it's a back and forth. If you're totally do we still own hip hop? Yeah, we still own it. However, there are people who choose to sign over their ownership to Republic Records, to Def Jam, because they want to get put out there. They own the means of distribution to get you worldwide famous. But at the end of the day, what is worldwide famous? What is it really? What does it really mean? And if your fame and popularity and boasting, and if it can't get ruined overnight by a rap battle, like we saw Kendrick did Drake. Now Drake's going to be fine. Drake's always going to sell records. He's always going to be able to go on tour. He's made enough hits. And he has more than enough white and non-black fans to be totally fine. But no matter what happened, no matter how much money he made or how many records he sold, none of that can add to any, can equate to cultural cachet. And that takes me to what Joe Budden said. Joe Budden on this show talked about Def Jam and how they screw up artists. I want you to hear this little clip, this clip right here from Joe Budden's podcast. And we're going to talk about that to go along with this.
Today on the Joe Budden podcast, episode 831, Joe did
and I
not
got this
spare
from,
any
off a
feelings
Chick
when
Smooth
speaking
channel.
about Def Jam. Here's what he said.
The Clips did a GQ interview.
Really good interview, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
They did a lot of interview.
Long read.
A lot of interview, but certain clips started making the way around. Def Jam, how they on Rock Nation now, because the Kendrick verse, Def Jam wouldn't clear it. Let me lead off.
Go ahead.
Def Jam ain't been Def Jam since I was at Def Jam. Def Jam has always been Def, D-E-A-F, Jam.
I call him Def Jig.
Or that. I like that
I've been
better.
calling him Def Jig.
Now, I try to chill because I used to know good people working over there. I don't know who's over there now. I know they broke down, consolidated, and picked it back up, and they made some type of new group now with all of Mercury and Island and yada, yada, yada. We'll get to that. But Def Jam did Big Sean wrong, Tiana wrong, even though she's still over there. Who else they did wrong? Crit, Joe Budden. Def Jam without Ludacris and Ja and DMX and LL and that Def Jam ain't Def Jam. So why everybody get all of that? The record player with the needle on the post that I have fucking tattooed on me, them days are long gone.
Def Jam has been one of the biggest, especially this century. We're not talking about, well, even if you go back to the 80s, they didn't want to sign Public Enemy. They didn't want to sign Nas. Like, Russell Simmons was against that. He was against that knowledge spitting shit. You dig? But they were still, at one point, a great label. At one point, they were. Still were a great label. Can't take that away. But they sent Leor Cohen. And ever since Leor Cohen got on Def Jam, and then Leor Cohen elevated his number one puppet, Jay-Z, to the top, Def Jam ain't been shit. And you really get to see how you saw through Def Jam of the late 2000s how they screwed over DMX, how they screwed over LL Cool J, and how when music, at a time we were complaining about Soulja Boy taking over hip hop. At that same time, LL Cool J wasn't allowed to release a Going Away album. DMX was being sat on, and those are just the people we know. How many dope artists did Def Jam have access to that they either sat on or didn't sign, while somewhere on the other side of the planet, Soulja Boy was able to get to the top? No disrespect to Soulja Boy because he changed the game in a lot of ways. I'm just talking about level of musicality. You know, Soulja Boy is a legend in his own right with how he got on using the internet. But I'm just going to show you how, even though he did that, they didn't still have to get behind him. They chose to get behind that. They chose to push Drake. Y'all remember early Drake took the same thing with Jay-Z, Leor Cohen. Jay-Z was elevated. Jay-Z did not naturally get to the top. When it came to Jay-Z's class, he was lost in the shuffle. Let's tell the truth. Jay-Z's class, Ice Cube is younger than Jay-Z. How old is Ice Cube? Is he younger than Jay-Z? Ice Cube age 55. Oh, they have Jay-Z at 55. Yeah, the fuck right. That nigga in his 60s. Ain't no hell he in his 50s. But let's just go with the number. He got the same age as Ice Cube. That Jay-Z's rap class is 89, 90, 91. He older than Nas. Jay-Z was around back then with his class. He got lost in the shuffle. But in the 90s, when they started to reorganize all of those hip-hop labels, and no more Arrested Development. Boom, no more X-Clan. Boom, what the fuck? You know, Wu-Tang coming up, but damn, what happened? You know, when the Dog Pound gonna come out with a new album? Didn't happen. You know what I mean? And then you get the Nelly Ja Rule class, and we was like, it's murder. All right. Well, who this fake sounded Tupac? That was my original summation of Ja Rule. How did that get to the top? Who the fuck had to lose for this nigga to win? They pick and choose winners. This is why I'm having this discussion. It's not about, like, again, for the details, go to some other channels, cover the details of this Pusha T, because this Pusha T situation is very interesting. Joe Budden's podcast covered it. A lot of podcasts covered the situation itself with the clips being left out. And go read the GQ article directly. It's very interesting. I am taking another angle with it. I'm using this to point out they choose winners and losers. And yeah, Ja Rule was super whack. Like, people look back with nostalgia because a lot of these songs came out at a time in our lives when niggas wasn't on child support. You can go down to the Fox Hills Mall and buy a fresh pair of J's and get a fresh haircut. You know what I mean? Because you didn't have all the responsibilities and the traumas and dramas of life back when what if I'm here, my baby? That take niggas back to a time. Takes me back to a time too. But life goes on. I can't be stuck in a time. That shit was trash. Just being honest. It was trash relative to what was just being released in 94, 95, 93. And then when Nelly came with his nursery rhymes, down, down, baby, yo, shit in the range, let it go, shimmy, shimmy, go, go, go. Like, what the fuck is this? Nigga, I was saying that shit my first year of college. I was like, did this nigga just really give us a nursery rhyme? Now, baby, young gin in the rain. And then I'm seeing people my age just going, yeah. I'm looking at I'm like 19 looking like, damn. I'm thinking like my dad generation, right? We a bunch of dumbasses. Niggas is really getting hyped to now, baby, yo, shit in the rain. What the fuck? Look, if you're a millennial like me and you was bouncing around, look, let's have a come to Jesus moment. I get you may have liked the song or you might have gotten with a freak on the dance floor to give you some good memories. But millennials, Gen X, younger Gen X and older millennials, let's have a come to Jesus moment. That shit was hot garbage. Shimmy, shimmy, go, bubs. We gotta tell the truth, shame the devil. The kids won't respect us if we don't tell the truth. We gotta tell the truth. Can we tell the truth? And I've said it before. Confessions was not a deep album. It wasn't. Confessions was so... It wasn't deep. It just is what they gave us. Let's just be honest. You feel it in your body, who. That wasn't deep. It was like... Shit was so elementary. When you compare it to lyrics of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. The poetry. Even the early 90s. Lyrically, that was just something simple. It was very simple, all right? We had a very dumbed down era of music that's gotten to where we got. And I don't blame the artists. I blame the Lucien Granges of the world. What's Clive Davises, the Leo Cohens, the David Geffens. These people. It was these people that told us that shimmy, shimmy, cuckabug was a hit. They pick and choose the winners and losers. You say you was glad women validated that? Yeah, it was like, and feel it in your body, do somebody who make you change your ways, like thinking with your crew. So you been it and you done it, I don't know. Nobody wants to be alone. Shut up. Appreciate that, Christopher Ellis, for the Cash App. Courtney G on the Cash App. Appreciate both of y'all, partner. Much love. You can donate right now. $ Dewan B1 on Cash App. DWANNB1. So we got to tell the truth and shame the devil. All right? No, that era was some dope stuff in that era. No, see, this is what happens. This is 50 years of devolving music. That era is now seen as dope. When at the time, the whole reason why the neo soul sound took off was because Music Soul Child, Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, that was a resistance to the pop of that era. You got to understand what made Lauryn Hill stand out. If you throw Lauryn Hill's album in the 70s, it's still a great album. Her album, that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, is great in any decades. I'm sorry by saying that. But if you put it in the 70s, it's hot for 2 or 3 months and it's on to the next. It doesn't reverberate as far because it would be on par with so much other stuff that was around it. But the Miseducation, from the level of singing and rap to the lyricism, what she was actually saying, the message Lauryn Hill was conveying, the live band, the structure of using background singers, and that was a departure from where R&B was going. That's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It woke up our DNA memory. It was like, okay, this is how rhythm and blues is supposed to sound. Hip hop is supposed to have lyrics like this. That's why it went so far, because music was so trash. Yeah, Erykah Badu, man, when I'll never forget, man, when she dropped that first album, work ain't nothing but it pays the bills. The neo-soul movement started with D'Angelo's Brown Sugar. That was a reaction to where music was going. But loud, I was listening to Love Poems earlier. Yeah, that was a cookie cutter era. You're right. That was the cookie cutter era. No, the Roots did not start neo-soul. The Roots were a hip-hop band. They weren't singing. D'Angelo started. Angie Stone started neo-soul by way of D'Angelo. That was Angie Stone putting all that together through her first artist that she put it through was D'Angelo. Because you put that stuff out there in the late 90s, it was so good. It wasn't soulful and funky like they always say hip hop. This is that early. This some that. See, funk was going in a great direction in the early 80s until Clive Davis and them fucked it off. Shit like this.
Yeah, I said that. But you ain't hip. I'm on the jumper, you ain't. But you ain't hip. Are you talking to me? I said destroy the hell and help us destroy.
You ain't hip, mother trucker. You ain't hip. That's some music that stopped having that soul when you got to the 90s. You ain't hip, mother trucker. You ain't hip. You ain't. I might do another. I've done. If you join my Patreon, because I have a lot of examples like this on Patreon. You know, I have a lot of examples on Patreon. You had lyrics, like, even when it comes to lyrics, James Brown had lyrics on top of the funk. Communication. Don't give me sorrow. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I'll get it myself. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I'll get it myself. Why did I play that song as an example? Those were the kind of lyrics that we produced when we released the music. That was released on King Records, James Brown's own record label. James Brown had his own radio stations. And he also had his own network of distributors. He pressed his own albums and got his albums out to the DJs across America, from Memphis to LA to New York to DC. We had a standard. You couldn't just do a fucking nursery rhyme and get a hit. And that was dance music too. That was a bigger dance song than anything Nelly ever released. James Brown, name the dances that was created during Nelly's tenure at the top of hip hop. Man, James Brown not only was the lyrics right, the dances that pop locking, b-boying, all those dances are born out of the James Brown sound. The robot, all that shit are plays on James Brown dances. I mean, we had a standard, people. We really did. Hell, let's go back to the blues. Our dance music back in the blues. How many times have you heard this shit get replayed?
One day she decided she'd go for a ride with a pistol and a sword by her side. She rolled right.
How many times? I want Pringles. Niggas are still using that for commercials today. But we was dancing to that. It wasn't a nursery rhyme. Bo Diddley literally created a chant that became something that Sting, Bruce Springsteen, Elton John, Eric Clapton, they all ended up doing a twist on that. Do you think in 30 years you're going to hear a commercial of somebody saying, you think anybody going to be playing that shit in the TV commercial 50 years later? Hell no. So we devolved in the last 50 years a long way from the lyrics of a love song being something like this. Let me give you an example. This is the dramatics. Just shopping, not buying anything. These are some lyrics. These are the lyrics of how to rule a woman. I'd like to make you the queen of my castle.
I'd like to make you queen of my.
Give you all the things that your heart desires. That's what I want to do to you, lady, woman. But you said you were just shopping, not buying anything. You trying to woo this woman, but she ain't trying to hear what you're saying. Because you know why she ain't trying to hear what you're saying? Because she's
just shopping, not buying anything.
In other words, the man's trying to commit to the woman, but she ain't trying to commit. You know, I'm trying to give you these things, but you told me you were just shopping, not buying anything. You ain't trying to stay committed. Those were the lyrics. You know, when it came to You compare that to the Whispers. What song was that I want to get to? I want to make you my wife. Here it is. Listen to the drop off in lyrics. First off, you get that beautiful interest on the piano. You get that to this. That to in 2000 to this. Nah, I'm not even gonna play the hip hop version.
This here is a remarkable, so deaf. See, to the beach, y'all.
I can't get. I'm gonna get to the lyrical part. First of all, I know these so-called players wouldn't tell you this. Basically, when it gets down here, what's him? Meet me at the altar. We went from I want to make you my wife to meet me at the altar in your white dress. Why? Not because I love you, not because you're the greatest thing ever for me, but because we ain't getting no younger. We might as well do it. These record labels allowed those lyrics to be released. If this shit was at Motown or Philadelphia International, do you know what they would have said? You know what Gambling Huff would have said? Man, take that back and rewrite that lyric. We ain't getting no younger. We might as well do it. We ain't getting no younger. We ain't getting no younger. Might as well do it. Yeah. Huh? How did we go from...
There are two sides to love.
How do we go from that to that? From that to that? Mm-hmm. Heavenly, heavenly, heavenly. That's how love is when it's right. To meet me at the altar, because we getting old and gray-haired and decrepit. I done fucked about 1,600 brides, and I don't want to fuck 1,601. So we might as well get married because we getting old. That's an example as to how music is falling off. I'm not being impartial. I'm just talking from a poetic point of view. From a lyrical point of view. In 2000, a hit was, we ain't getting no younger. We might as well do it. Wow. Wow. You go from Smokey Robinson. Okay.
When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May.
When it's cold outside, I got the month of May. When you're talking about your girl, I got sunshine on a cloudy day. That's a fucking lyric. You know what I mean? We used to have a really high standard when it came to our lyrics. But what happened was a 30-year devolution of our sound, 40-year devolution of our sound to where by the time 25 years ago hit, we ain't getting no younger, you might as well do it, became a lyric that we accepted. Fuck out of here. I'm so glad my dad was raised on Smokey Robinson and not Jagged Edge. Don't get no better. You had music. These are lyrics. The agony, love like this. These is cheating lyrics right here. We're here with some gal you know you don't belong with. Smokey Robinson tell you, love like that will never be free. You got to face some agony for the ecstasy. So you know what that lyric did? It made men of that time not be bitch ass niggas. It made you say, okay, I know I'm doing something wrong. See, in today's world, they would be like, oh, you're hating because I'm with your girl. You're hating. Oh, why did he do that? I only mess with, he didn't have to punch me in the eye. Why did he do that? That's what you niggas that grew up on Drake would say. That shouldn't have happened. No, still, yes, I was wrong, but that's still not fair. Smokey told you, nah, if you're gonna be bullshitting, nigga, you're gonna be bullshitting, you gotta face that agony for the ecstasy. You dig? You at the Manhattans, you know what I mean? See, nowadays, in today's world, see, I stole your bitch. Just harsh, like, I stole your bitch. Nah, up. I wonder if they see I'm not your guy. I wonder if they know that you ain't mine. And then he's talking about messing with his girl, his homeboy's girl. It's your man. God damn, there's some devious ass. Them niggas need they ass whooped. But they made it sound so beautiful and poetic. You see how when you go back to the 70s, they still talked about degenerate shit back then. And this version is going to be on Patreon and on the members level. I'm cleaning all this music out. So if you watch it later, the YouTube version won't have no music, but Patreon will. But you see how even the most degenerate, that's some ain't shit ass lyrics. That nigga ain't shit. Gerald Austin, you ain't shit for that. That's your homeboy's gal. How do you make messing around with your homeboy's gal sound so goddamn beautiful? At 8, I got to explain why I'm so late. That's the standard when we released our music. When Lucian Grange got to releasing our music, when Leo Cohen got to releasing our music, we ain't getting no younger. You might as well do it. Became the fucking standard. Did I make my point? Did I not prove my point? The difference on how they choose winners and losers? Black America didn't stop creating lyrical poets like Smokey Robinson and Stevie Wonder and singers like Gerald Austin and groups like The Man. We still got that. We still make it. We still got it. But that's not who these dickheads decide to push. But they decided, nah, man, your girl sucked my dick. No, and there's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? It's all experiences are true. You dig what I'm saying? Here it is. Like, yeah, songs like this. Like music that ain't shit. That shit ain't new. Listen to BB King. BB King was an asshole. I don't want a soul hanging around my house when I'm not at home. If you sick and you're stuffy, don't call the doctor. You just suffer till I get home. Ain't shit lyrics did not start with hip hop. Music, and I'm saying this, the reason why I'm making this point is this. People like to go back on the time when music was pure. Music was never pure. It's all music talks about what we experience in life. The good shit, the bad shit, the indifferent shit, all experiences go on wax. That's what I'm saying. But what I am saying is this. There used to be a standard in a poetic way to put it on wax in a way that's the average. Like me personally, I couldn't write that lyric. Like the lyricists back in the day were lyricists that wrote shit that me and you couldn't think of. You listen to a song and be like, damn, that's a dope way of putting it. You ain't said shit, but damn. It went from that to, we ain't getting no younger, we might as well do it. Top 10 hit. Whoa, what the fuck happened? That's what I mean when Lucien Grange, David Geffen, all these guys got in control of releasing our music. The quality went, that's right. There was thought and intent. That's the difference. There was thought and intent. That's right. The dumbing down process happened over years. So that's why I don't want people to take it personal when I make these comments. I'm included. My generation was the first recipients of all stupid fucking music. That shit was meant for us millennials. I got great chinny chin chin hairs. I was 19 when some of that bullshit came out. 15. I know, and I liked it too when it came out. Some of that stuff I liked when it came out. But that's why Lauryn Hill, going back to my point about Lauryn Hill and the neo-soul movement, the neo-soul, quote-unquote, neo-soul movement did not get mass promotion. Jill Scott didn't get promoted. Erykah Badu didn't get promoted. At the time, and I'm going to need you young niggas born in the late 80s and the early 90s when I'm talking about stuff during this era to sit back and listen. Because y'all wasn't young enough to know what was going on. I mean, y'all wasn't old enough. When we're talking about 88, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, Tony, House of Music album, outside of the song with DJ Quick, they pushed that off to the side, that neo-soul sound. D'Angelo they were pushing to us Genuine, Usher, and Cisco, and B2K, and Jagged Edge. D'Angelo had to get it how he got it. He wasn't being pushed. Erykah Badu wasn't being pushed. They were pushing Ashanti. They were pushing Aaliyah. They were pushing women that really couldn't sing. Erykah Badu and Jill Scott, they had to sing their way into our hearts with music of substance. Because I'll never forget, and I've told the story before. If you were in LA, 2000, when Who Is Jill Scott dropped. I can't speak for any other city, but I can speak because I was freshman year in college, and I was catching a bus to Santa Monica College. And that's when this shit dropped. That's when that dropped. That wasn't pushed. This wasn't pushed. I'll tell you what was being pushed at that time. This is what they wanted us to hear instead.
This thing right.
They wanted us to hear. Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Common on the rap side of the game. These people were the resistance to that. And time is why Jill Scott and Erykah Badu won out. Not because of where they were at that time. At that time, they were that's why they call it neo soul. Neo soul is othering. When in fact, in actuality, neo soul is just rhythm and blues done right. This shit that they was pushing through the mainstream was the deviant, was the alternate take. This is what they was pushing at that time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have an issue with that, but that's what was being pushed. But niggas like me was listening to this instead. Man, when that shit dropped, it was the disruption. That's not what they wanted. But this stuff was released on smaller labels like Hidden Beach, Motown. There's a lot of other stuff that was going on. None of that stuff was intended to be mainstream. But it was so good. It was so fucking good. They had to play it. Lucy Pearl. Yeah, we got Raheem Devine. We can go down the list of the early 2000s neo soul quote unquote sound. Tweet. Man. Coffee Brown.
And you don't stop.
I thought that whole album was hot, and we never got another one. That shit was hot, and we never got another one. You had India Arie.
Where are your people from?
They didn't want to give us that. And then you had, during that time when lyrics weren't shit, you had India Arie with lyrics like this that was going off. But your Lucian Granges, your Universal Musics, your Warners, they made sure to stamp this shit out. They choose the winners and losers. They tried to tell us that Alicia Keys was better than India Arie. What? They tried to tell us John Legend was better than D'Angelo. What? Oh, fake Carl Thomas sounding ass nigga John Legend. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. I've been playing music, so this video is both 100,000% demonetized. But I felt I couldn't get this message out without the music. But y'all can't help me by hitting the Cash App to help me offset the demonetization warning that's coming my way as soon as I hit finish on this video. So y'all can hit the Cash App if you appreciate what I'm doing. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, it's cool to make the money, but sometimes I gotta make the point. Sometimes the point is more valuable than other things. But y'all can help me offset that $sign DeWanB1 on Cash App. Because 237447425. 323-744-7425. Oh, Jason, I appreciate the Cash App. Appreciate the Cash App, Jason. Don, I appreciate the Cash App. Much love, much love. Yeah, so yeah, Arrested Development. We had a lot of shit that was going, man. And the industry are the ones that chose to pick who they picked. And you can enroll your children if you go to dwanb.com/courses. Only $30 a class. 5 classes, 5 summer school classes on the Black American music family tree. Legends, instruments, and legacy. We're gonna talk about Black history through sound. Your children are gonna learn the value of Aretha Franklin, Mahalia Jackson, John Coltrane, B.B. King, James Brown, and why, and Kendrick. And they're gonna understand what that is. We're gonna get a digital workbook, Spotify playlists, artist instruments, fact sheets. We're gonna get a glossary, and also a digital certificate of completion. If you want your kids to really understand where we come from musically, this is very, very, very important that we pass this information down. And I'm not going to load them up with a whole bunch of stuff like heavy books, but I will edit down some of this stuff and put it in a language that they can understand with the fact sheets and the digital workbook. It's going to be in a language that they can understand, so they ain't got to read these scholarly books that I have. You know, it's going to be broken all the way down. If you want to take it as an adult, just not participate as far as you're not going to have any assignments. Only people that's going to have assignments is kids, are the children. But if you just want to sit back and watch as an adult, well, you're welcome also, okay? $, Dewan B1, the Cash App, or you can just enroll right here to join, all right? Pay in 2 or single payment, it is up to you. You dig? Is the phone line open? No. I apologize if you're trying to call in. Usually I have Teams open before I start because this shit moves hella slow. All right, try to call in now. 323-744-7425. This nigga said John Legend is an Atlanta mall singer. That shit was funny. Nigga called him a mall singer. So yeah, we gotta understand, like Clive Davis, you know, when you listen to Walter Yetnikoff speak, I'm talking about, you can read this book, Hitman, and just listen to what Walter Yetnikoff has to say about Clive Davis. Don't listen to what other black folks got to say. But when you think about it, Clive Davis he does have an ear for music. He's very talented. Clive Davis also helped Earth and Fire get out there, you know. Clive Davis has done a lot of things. He gave us Whitney Houston, but the issue with Whitney Houston was we never got to hear Whitney Houston sing the music she wanted to sing. Whitney Houston didn't want to be singing no Greatest Love of All, and it was very powder puff. Whitney Houston is a musical child of Shaka Khan. Whitney Houston wanted to sing that funk. But when you watch Whitney Houston's documentary, there's a point where they specifically say Clive Davis was saying, we do not allow Whitney Houston to sing any of that George Clinton funk stuff. So a lot of the songs that would have been the most, Whitney Houston never got to sing what would have possibly been the greatest songs of her career because she was specifically guided away from a black sound. But yeah, you read this book, listen to what Dick Asher, Walter Yetnikoff, and those guys had to say about Clive. But Clive was also somebody who was arrested at a young age. And in a major scandal. And then he was released. Just like Desiree Perez. Look, Clive Davis most definitely has an ear. But we got to understand who Clive Davis works for. Allegedly. Cause it was something he had did. That's what it was. It was something he had done. He was basically questioned about some stuff, some illegal use of stuff with CBS. And yeah, Clive Davis was somebody that I'm trying to find the exact charges here, but I'm looking right here. They're trying to cover up some of that stuff. I just got to ask the right questions. I'm live right now, so I won't be able to do it. I'll probably do that next show, where he had gotten in trouble with the law. Yes, it was. Was it Columbia Records? Yeah, that's what it was. It was some shit. It was some internal shit where he was caught stealing at Columbia Records, and there was some legal consequences and stuff like that. And he got in with them folks, and then got pushed back out there on us in '74. But yeah, that's what it is. I have a couple missed calls. I'm having Teams issues right now, so I'm gonna shut the phone line down. I see. I had. Don't call back because I can't. Okay, somebody's calling. I can't answer. No, I'm having issues with Teams right now, so I'm gonna shut the phone line down. I'm not about to be playing these fucking games today. But that's what they did. That's what they do. They choose the winners and the losers. They choose the winners and the losers. So all that number one, how many sold this and who sold that, how many weeks at the top, none of that shit matter, man. All that shit's contrived. And you see it right here with them not allowing Pusha T. But I salute to them. I'm glad Pusha T was allowed to move on to Rock Nation to release the album all the way through. So that was good. That was a great power move by Pusha T. Salute to Pusha T and the Clips for making that power move, standing on their square, because Universal could have told them, "Fuck you! You just not gonna you still owe us an album. You can choose to stand in your square or not. Either way it go, until you give us that album, you ain't getting released." They could have done that, but they let them go. And to me, I think that's because there are other things going on right now. They're facing a bunch of lawsuits: Salt and Pepper, Limp Bizkit, the Drake suit, and it's a lot going on. Taylor Swift's got her masters back, so they have a lot of other things going on. And one thing about it, these places can't fight too many fires at once. Now, I don't give a fuck how big nobody is. They're the biggest boy on the block, Universal. But no matter how big you are, you cannot fight all the fights at the same time. All right? But thank y'all for being here. We got if you want to donate to my Black American Music Family Tree Foundation, we are not fully approved by the IRS yet. That is coming this year. But if you still want to donate, because we have a lot of expenses to get to that point, You can donate right now. Email me info@dewanb.com, and I'll tell you how, and I'll show you how. But this is what we're doing. This is what we're building. Go to bamfamilytree.org to see what we're building at my foundation and what we're going to be putting out, all right? You dig? Go to bamfamilytree.org to find more information on the foundation and what we got going, all right? Thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. We out.